What is up, everyone? It is Beanie back, baby. And today we're doing a rap interview. We're really going to get into the artist first. And it's a new segment I like to call Artist First. But, it's about time we get back to the artist and what really makes the music, what you guys can learn from artists. And, more importantly, what we can take from artists that have given us a lot of their emotions, a lot of their soul when it's come to their music. And I, appreciate it. And that's why today we've gotten one of our first people here, Alma 16. What's going on, Alma 16?
Yo, what's going on, man? Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you.
Awesome. So, yeah, man, I saw you on Instagram. It popped up on my page and my recommended, and I was just going through my feeds like that as well. And I remember hearing this song from the new De La Alma album that you have. I think it was In My Shoes. And I was like, oh, yeah, I like this a lot. It reminded me of a nice, back in the day, just nice, spacious. Like, I think I even said, like, your music reminds me of smoking your first joint and sparking it on the couch on a Saturday morning.
That's awesome. That is one of the best interpretations of my music that I've heard, honestly.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me when I'm listening to it. Like, and there's just lights peeking in. It's early in the morning. It's just there's smoke in the air, and you just take your first joint. It hasn't been. It's your first joint of the whole week. It's not your fifth, 12th. No, it's your first. That's what it feels like, So today I want to focus less on narratives that many other people would do, and focus more on the process and meaning and intention when it comes to the music that connects into real life. First and foremost, Almost 16. Where is that even coming from? That's a unique name right there. Where did you get that from?
Yeah, so I know, that I look probably like I'm like 200% Irish here, or maybe Scottish, but I'm half Irish, but I'm also half Mexican. I grew up with a lot of Mexican family. I speak Spanish. It's a really big part of my identity. My family inspired a lot of the music that I make too. Alma means soul in Spanish, and soul music is also something that's been just a huge inspiration for me in making all of my music. It's something that I always try to make the focal point of whenever I'm making new music. I just want to put my soul into it. Whatever that is speaking, I want that to be heard through the music. The 16 stands for 16 bars in your typical verse. So the idea is I'm giving a soulful 16 every single time.
Oh, okay. That's a really deep way of projecting your confidence into the music. It's a good reminder for every verse you're putting in.
Absolutely.
That's my name. I got to live up to the name. So you made this project back in 2020. It feels like such a long time ago, 2020. Man, I feel old. One of the things I remember the most about that era was that I just got out of high school. One of your projects that came up during that time was Head Above Water. That's how I kind of felt, because I had left my mom's house when I was 19. We got into a fight. We were going through multiple times of fighting and disputing. I remember when I left, we had this whole argument. I was crying in the car driving back in this 1997, I think it was 1997 Saturn SL1 Gold. And I remember crying, listening to this Justin Timberlake song. And I remember feeling the same way about your album, Head Above Water, in 2020. What was your life like when you started putting music out seriously at that time?
Yeah, honestly, I can see what you mean by it having that same sort of emotional weight. That's definitely what I was trying to do at the time. My life at the time, I was in college. Prior to that, I had been making music under just Lee, releasing things on SoundCloud, not really taking things super seriously, because I didn't feel like I had the confidence to make something that could cut through, if that makes sense. But as I poured more time into it, I found myself falling more and more in love with it. Right around that time, COVID came around. I always gave myself that excuse of, well, I don't have the time. I don't have this or that. And I found myself just sitting at the house. I realized I definitely don't have that excuse to be weighing me down anymore. I need to start pouring more time into this, because that's been my only hobby. I don't really play video games. I do watch some TV, but music, man, that was my only hobby growing up from age 15, 16. Outside of like playing sports, things like that. But anyways, there at 2020, it was just a very a lot of adversity going on in my life, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And this just felt really, really right. So I put this project together to kind of communicate that that's all that I was trying to do, is just keep my head above water. Things felt unsure in life, but music did feel like this constant that I could lean on.
You say about that time, you feeling like that. Have you always been smoking? I feel like that's a lot of part of your lyrics. So
Yeah.
smoking a lot of that time period too as well. Is that when you got really into smoking? Were you smoking at that time period?
Yeah, that's definitely around like 2019, 2020. I still had roommates, but I was out of my parents' place, so I didn't have to sneak around as much for it. So,
Oh, your parents didn't like you rapping?
Well, they didn't like me smoking as much. They
Oh,
definitely,
okay.
yeah. So
Smoking and rapping, they're like, "Fuck you doing? Smoking, that's all. The fuck are you doing?"
yeah, That's a double whammy. No, no. But I mean, right around 2020, I definitely did start leaning heavy on more into that and just into writing so much. I just found myself loving that process. I would get to the point where I would just write over anything. I would just tap my leg to get a BPM or something to get a constant rhythm because I just found myself really wanting to keep writing new stuff. It turned from a hobby into I want to work towards this being my life moving forward. Yeah, it was right
I
around
feel
that
that.
2020.
I feel like a lot of people feel that way too. Like you catch a bug that you never had before, and you know for the first time ever that this bug is a different one. And, it's not a bug that's going to leave anytime soon. I just can't get it out of my
Exactly.
brain. I got to get it off of me, and it's like, I got to figure a way to make money off of this because if not, I can't be the broke guy doing this. And everyone's looking at me like, this is just a poor guy making 16 bars. So listening back, do you remember the first record, especially the first one you heard while you were high, where the wordplay or production completely changed how you understood the music?
Yes, I would say it's kind of between two different ones, but I'll say the one that came out first. So some rap songs by Earl Sweatshirt, I would say that was like 2018. So that's right around when I graduated high school. So I would say, yeah, that album, just listening to the wordplay, all of his lyricism, and then the shift in beats, because I had always like kind of in middle school and in early high school, always been a huge Earl Sweatshirt and Odd Future, Tyler the Creator fan.
Mm,
Hearing him shift into that kind of production opened up the way I could interpret his lyrics. It felt like this new soundscape that was so inspiring to me at the time. I would say, yeah, that album, but it's also between that and in 2019, Bandana by Freddie Gibbs and Madlib. That
mm,
was another one where
beautiful.
like, oh yeah, I just that really, and maybe a hot take. I mean, it's one of my it might be my personal favorite hip hop album of all time, to be completely honest, because it's just like it really at that time it was so pivotal in like what was inspiring me. Yeah, and then definitely listen to those while I was smoking at the time, just chiefing a little bit, man, and then throwing on cataracts or situations, half main, half cocaine. What else? Crime pays. There's just
Time
so many
Pay.
on that album. I love that album so much. So it's really between those two, but maybe leaning a little heavier on Bandana. I do love that album.
Recently just got into Freddie Gibbs from listening to Alfredo too. I listened to,
Nice.
to Skinny Suge too. And, when I listened to Skinny, I feel like I never heard him before. Like I obviously listened to Crime
Mm.
Pays. If you play GTA 5, you're going to listen to Crime Pays. Then his Colors performance on
Yes.
YouTube, that was amazing. Definitely something that was artistically up there in terms of his minimalism, but also in terms of his ability to rap and his ability. He's just hungry. When he get on the
Yes.
mic, he just sound hungry. You just sound like he want to eat the mic.
Mhm.
Like he's just about to finish the boy. Like every
Yes.
time I get on the mic, I take rapping as a craft very seriously. When I hear rapping, I can tell if a person sounds like they're about to give you their soul. I feel like they're,
Mm.
that's the thing about it is like, that's the really the part about it is. And so, like, even if Young Thug stuff was unmelodic and mumbly, it was soul. It was soul.
Exactly.
You felt it. And I think that's what people got to remember when it comes to music. It's about feeling and very reflective of the time period. I feel like Bandana, definitely did that a lot very well. And
Oh
Alchemist's
yeah.
production, is just so fucking authentic, minimal, smooth, loopy, and just it's like it's like putting salt while spreading salt, sprinkling it on like a fine steak. That's what it
Yes. That's
kinda
actually a great way to describe that. Yeah.
it's like that's what he reminds me of, and you don't ever get tired of eating the steak because the presentation is so good every single time. He makes it look easy, very cinematic, very loopy, very easy, but the problem not really when it came to Sick, and you referenced that, that was definitely something for me personally. I just recently really got into Earl Sweatshirt.
They were. Yeah.
Recently, I already heard you on Super Rich Kids. I already heard some of your verses in Odd Future. I already heard that. I already heard Chum.
Mm.
But my favorite, first of all, I believe Earl Sweatshirt is in my top 5 rappers of all time category. I have to give him this specifically because of his one consistency on writing on his own pen is something very appreciative when it comes to writing. That's something that has to be wondered. I think people got to remember that it's okay to have writers in the room, but the expectations have to land with the writers. If you're getting writer of the year, you shouldn't have ghostwriters anywhere near you,
I
right?
would agree with that.
If you're
Absolutely.
getting pop artist of the year, it's okay if you're getting ghostwriters near you. Are you popular? Okay, we
Exactly.
move on to the next thing. So that's where people got to go ahead and move on. This is what people got to remember when it comes to Earl Sweatshirt. My favorite is I don't like shit. I don't go outside. That's one of my favorite albums of all time. One of my it's replayability value. I will defend that album until the day I die. It's in my top 5 hip hop albums. It's actually in the videos below. But
I can get behind that take.
yeah, but
Absolutely.
it is definitely, it is strong. It is strong. It sets up so heavy what the future of hip hop would be, which is sad, melodic rhymes. It wasn't too melodic. It was just raw, harsh, and he was so young.
Oh, no, man.
And it
It's
was just like,
insane.
oh my God, bro. I was just like, bro, how can I get like that? It was just
Mm.
like what you see someone wear a fresh pair of J's, and it's like crazy. How can I get those pair, bro? And that's what it was kind of like Huey, Mantra. Everyone can't forget
Yeah.
Chum's on there. And I think Chum is like really for real. I mean, I don't think Chum's on there. Chum's on a
No,
different.
yeah, Chum was on
Uh,
Doris.
yeah, Doris.
He's got one with, I
Vince
think it's
Staples
called
on there.
Wool.
It's called Wool or something like that. If you haven't listened to it, go ahead and check out I Don't Like Shit, I Don't Go Outside. Perfect for this time period right now if you are not liking going outside. It's a really good album. The production was crazy. And he produced some of that shit his own self too. There's a lot of historic shit
Yes.
on the album. It's underground. People gotta really listen to that. They don't really give it the take it should be really given. I don't really see it on Rolling Stone. It should be up there with MFBDTF in terms of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yeah, yeah.
Minimalism. You don't gotta have all the lights moments when it comes to rap. The interiorism, just being this black dude explaining your life that most people at the time understand. Most black kids are not getting hit by cops. I mean, I know it's a thing that's happening in the world. I'm a black man. I can definitely tell you it's real. But in an everyday scenario, most black people is not really getting hit by cops like that. Back like how it was back in the day. Black people were getting hit by cops so bad back in the day, you could be peaceful and still get beat up. That's how the MLK thing happened. You knew you were going to get beat up on camera. But nowadays, it's not like that. We're not beating people up like that physically in the street. So the kids are having a lot more of a different type of system. It's an interior system. It's not exterior anymore. And so that's why I Don't Like Shit, Go Outside. It helped me back when I was coming up. And it helped me, even now. When you said Sick, the only thing I can think about is 2010. That fucking song is fucking amazing. I remember when I first put it on, my friend in the car was like, bro, what is this? You're not listening to the rhyme schemes, to the lyrics, to the verbiage, to the flow, to the ability. Foremost, the beat's everywhere. It's a beautiful beat. It's just everywhere. And so for him to be able to rhyme like that, it's just so crazy. For him to be consistent like that for that long is crazy when it comes to staying consistent over the 5 years in the streaming era. You've been consistent for 5 years. How have you actually kept going when most people have stopped? There's a lot of people who've dropped off. Body number, people got that. It's crazy, sad to see nowadays in digital age. So how have you stayed consistent and actually kept yourself going when most people have stopped in this era?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. Number one, and this sounds like a simple sort of answer, but really just, man, I love music and hip hop. That's always been, just a really big driving force and what's keeping me wanting to create more. It really is just something that I feel like is an absolute necessity in my life. Also, I make music with people who have been like my closest friends for years. I make music with my brother, Sammy Vanes, and I mean, we live together, so we're not going to let each other stop making stuff. So I'm really blessed with that to have some of the best collaboration relationships any rapper, any artist could ask for. They really keep me going as well. I would say that's been a big thing that's kept me consistent. You're right, it has been 5 years. I haven't even realized that.
People got to realize that's really hard to do. And I think the only possible way to be that consistent. I remember I was going through your catalog and I was like, bro, what the fuck? I was like, there's so much shit in here that I got to go ahead and listen to. And it wasn't a problem at all. I was immediately impressed by the fact that you already had such a smooth delivery, smooth flow. It already felt like you knew you were supposed to be on the track and you're just trying to talk real quick and just dip out real quick to y'all. And it's like, I'm trying to spit some game to you for 99 cents. And I dip out real quick. That's what it kind of felt like. You have great performances. I remember listening to some of your stuff and I was like, bro, what the fuck is going on here? People got to remember, and if you guys haven't checked out any things, please check out Projections 1 and Projections 2. Some of the greatest I've heard in a long time in terms of the underground. Projections 1, Projections 2. If someone wanted to understand you as a person, not just as a rapper, which project would you point to them first to? Projections, Carrier Waves, or something else, and why?
Oh, yeah. That's a really great question. I would honestly say it's between De La Alma. I always look to that as the most expressive of everything that I'm capable of as an artist. And in turn, I think it communicates a lot of different emotions that I experience as a person. So it may be De La Alma, but then also Projections too. That's one I'm proud of and is expressive of the different emotions that I'm able to communicate and express through my lyrics. And I'm pretty proud of that one as a producer as well, because I did all the beats on Projections too, but not on De La Alma. So it'd probably be between one of those two projects.
What about for Projections 1? Did you do any? How much production did you do on Projections 1?
I did all the beats for that too. Yes, sir. The Projection series, I did all the beats for. Yeah. Also, an album I did last year with my brother, Sammy Vanes, called A Lover's Folly. That one, yeah, that I'm pretty proud of. So, I know it's tough to give one answer, but if I had to give one answer, probably De La Alma, but A Lover's Folly, pretty close runner up as well. But yeah, with the catalog building so much over the years, it is tough to pinpoint exactly one album.
I mean, it's almost like a metronome to human life trying to capture the right moment because you making music so long, it's almost been like with you for every stage. It's kind of like asking, what was your child's best age? Like, you don't know. I mean, he could still, I mean, I don't know. He might be 36. I don't know. I still got time too. Like, I mean, it's like that. Projections Volume 1 and 2. First and foremost, I got to talk about the production, cinematic. I mean, one of the first things I really loved about Projections 1 was the art style. I love the album cover. Whose idea was that? My idea. It was amazing.
Oh, I appreciate that. No, thank you. Yeah. So actually, the story behind how I came across that imagery, I used to work at an enterprise out here in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where I stay. I worked at an enterprise just as a car detailer, just cleaning out dirty rental cars. Just a boring job to keep my lights on through college. One day, if people didn't come back for stuff, we could kind of keep it. After a while, we had this book that had all these different scenes of Odyssey type movies based on ancient Egyptian stories and ancient literature in general. They were made mostly in like the late 50s, early 60s. The imagery in them is just absolutely insane. So we got this book that was in the trunk of a rental car. I saw it one day, and after a while, it just stayed there. And I took it home and I flipped through it. I watched YouTube clips of these old movies because I love the way it all looked, really rich in color, but still really gritty. And it reminded me of really gritty hip hop.
Great analogy. Analogy.
I appreciate that. It inspired me to make something really raw and gritty. And I want to pair it with this kind of art. I took inspiration from those stories. They were extremely inspiring for that time period.
Well, I can definitely tell you, I love Projections. I'm a big fan of Projections. I'm a big fan. And Home Remedies is a great intro to start with the whole entire cinematic outro peak. It was just like, wow, everything's coming together so cohesively. I love the 7 tracks. People got to understand that I'm really tired. I hope people are hearing me when I say this. It needs to end as well. I'm so tired of 19-track albums, 18-track albums, 16-track albums, 17-track albums. This needs to stop. And I think it needs to stop, honestly. It needs to make sense for the artist that you are. I am tired of seeing every artist I go to now up their whole entire Drake is a culprit of this. 19 songs, 20 songs, 10 songs, 80 songs. Like, bro, calm down. I feel like it's disrespectful almost in a way. Like, you think my time is so invaluable that I have an hour and 32 minutes in the day when my work is taking 8 hours of it. My kids are taking 3 hours, whatever hours of it. My wife is taking this hours of it. You still want my money and the tour merch and the tour sales. Then you want me to appreciate you on the streaming services. Then you want me to go ahead. I mean, first and foremost, bro, can you make stuff that actually aids to my life, adds to my day? One of the biggest things I hated about the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef was that Kendrick Lamar was shitting on Drake. It was kind of like, bro, you can't hate on this nigga for being around for almost 20 years and giving us nonstop bangers to keep going to work to. I'm sorry, he is. And that's what I hear when I go to work. I would love to hear ADHD on my drive to work. You don't come out and you're not here as often. So because you're here, you don't get to always claim that spot. And I get it was all about identity, but we've reached the point now where expression in Black people is everywhere. It doesn't matter if Drake is from Toronto. We know his dad is blacker than Uncle Ben's rice. So why are we still playing and acting at the end of the day like this individual cannot go ahead and say the word nigga? Why can't he go ahead and go into different Black worlds and, take from his culture? It's his culture. Part of his shit, he's still in it. It's not like this is a white dude going into the hood, be like Mark Fresh or Vanilla Ice, still contributing. He's still saying good things about hip hop. He's still using his platform to talk. So at the end of the day, I feel like that's something people got to remember when it comes to stuff like this. We have to remember that in this day and age, too many tracks, too many albums, it's not cohesive. It hurts the album structure. It hurts the listenability, replayability.
I know something now that I didn't know before. I am guilty of a lot of things.
got some stress that needs alleviation. Pharmacist recommendation is something nature made in. I'm not talking about home remedies. Tried to eat some gelatin capsules, it wasn't no good for me. Less it's filled with THC. Come to think about it, I ate those, now I'm feeling drowsy. Got my vision clouded. Figured I'd shout it in this mic to keep my mind from drowning. I'm terrified of tomorrow, still hopping in that DeLorean, no, hoping my story gets told right. My passion ain't Mel Gibson, don't tell him it's in Christ. When I die, tell the fam to play Kanye and Stevie Wonder, and not to fret because my legacy is more than covered. I keep them